Hello friends, this week's Photo Friend Challenge is all about bokeh. Now what is bokeh? Bokeh, as defined in the dictionary, bokeh, a noun in the Merriam-Webster dictionary, is described as the blurred quality or effect seen in the out of focus portion of a photograph taken with a narrow depth of field. When we're talking about bokeh, we're talking about that out of focus area in the photograph. When someone says, man, that photo has really nice bokeh, usually they mean it's really buttery and just kind of flowy. There are many ways to achieve bokeh. So when you go out this week to shoot your photo challenge, or you're looking back at some of your photos that you've shot with nice bokeh, think about when you've used a prime lens. Think about when you've used a long lens. Now think about when you've used an aperture that's wide open. To achieve bokeh, something needs to be really out of focus. That's how you get that really nice buttery look. Now it will look better if it's even more out of focus with a really wide open f-stop, which means a lower number, right? So like an f2.8 or 1.4, somewhere in that range will get you a really nice range of bokeh. That means if you have a lot of things out of focus, you'll have very little in focus. Let's take a look at a couple of photos I took from a wedding, and you can see some examples, two examples of some nice bokeh that I think is nice bokeh that I took, and I'll describe how I shot them. So check out this wedding photo. Now I took this with a 56mm 1.4 on my Fuji crop sensor camera. So this is around, a 70 to 85 prime on a full frame camera, and see this nice bokeh in the background. You can see the highlights are blowing out because of the bigger f-stop. It looks really soft. I would say this photo has nice bokeh in the background. Now these flowers are a little too close to us, and they're too close to our point of focus to really get that buttery effect, but the background is so far away and so out of focus that it's achieving a really nice bokeh. Let's look at this next photo. This is my typical wedding portrait. Again, the Fuji nailed the focus on her face, and the background, because I'm shooting at such a wide open f-stop, is creating this nice bokeh field. You can see these highlights are a little oval shaped because of my lens, but they're nice and pretty and provide this really beautiful, look. A lot of this is positioning, right? So it was later in the day. I made sure the sun was behind her, and it's actually hitting those spaces between the leaves and the trees in the background, and that's what creates that bokeh. Now this, again, can also be achieved with Christmas lights or lights in the background, but this is that nice bokeh looking shot. Often this looks better in color than it does black and white, so try and get out there, shoot some more color, shoot some Christmas lights if they're around, or different city lights, throw things out of focus. So many things you can do to get that nice buttery bokeh look in the background. Cool. So again, how do we achieve that? The best thing to do is shoot wide open as you can. Sometimes it helps to have a longer prime lens, or it helps to have a telephoto lens. Remember, when we shoot wider, there's going to be more things in focus, and when we shoot longer, there'll be less things in focus, which will help us with our bokeh. Here's a really good lens that you can use for that, right? This is an 85mm 1.4 Nikon full frame old manual lens. I used to shoot this on my old Nikons. I used to shoot a lot of weddings with it, and today I use a Fuji equivalent basically. But you can see here, I'll show you. If you're looking right down there at the f-stop, this is at an f16, very tiny hole, right? As I open it all the way up, we get to an f1 point, what is it again? 1.4. And that's what's gonna cause those big, nice circles. Now, just so you can see, right? If you're letting light in at that tiny circle, you can have a very defined circle, right? So things are more in focus, and you don't get that nice buttery, big, circled, out of focus look. Versus this, nice, big, giant, soft light coming in. Your lens is allowing it to come in, and it will create that sort of look, right? So again, small hole, f16, 1.4, bokeh. And since it's an 85, we get even more of that because of the quality of the glass. This is a nice piece of glass, so we'll make it look really good. So what is it about bokeh? It looks good, right? Aesthetically, I think we've been trained sort of over time to view bokeh and view things that are way out of focus and very little in focus as aesthetically professional. Mostly because you can't normally achieve that without the help of a lens, right? Or the help of some quality glass. So it hasn't always been accessible to everyone, right? Your phone isn't necessarily going to be able to do that unless you use multiple lenses or you use the newer phones with the algorithms that let you do that in portrait mode. Often we see bokeh with Christmas lights or really out of focus highlights. It happens a lot in the bright spots because there's a lot of light coming in from those highlights, and it can go through the bigger hole and you'll see that nice buttery thing. So when you're out shooting and you're looking at photos from the past, go shoot wide open, shoot a long lens, shoot a prime, aim yourself at highlights, Christmas lights, lights in the background, or just throw the whole thing out of focus. And that's how you can get bokeh. So good luck on your photo challenge this week. Bye, friends.